The story of our ancestors runs deep. They taught us to have resilience and perseverance in a world that is cruel. They instilled a faith to carry us through when society didn't deem us as equal. These characteristics have been passed down the bloodline to each one of us and make up the very fiber of our being. We each have been granted with one life to live, one chance to leave our stamp on the world. However, no matter how influential we are, in 50, 100, 200 years, each of our stories will be forgotten. But what if you got the chance to meet your great-great-great-grandmother or grandfather? What if you knew their stories? What if you really knew the greatness that you ascended from? Well, this is our story, the Davis story. Our chance to cement our stories in history forever. A chance to be never erased.
All right, so we always start off, I want to ask you your name.
My name is James Lloyd Davis Jr.
Okay, so you were named after your father.
Yes.
Okay, and what number child are you?
Third.
You're the third. Okay. And you were the only son, right?
Right.
So how was that? Did you get a lot of privileges since you were the only boy, like your own room or?
Oh, yeah, well, that I did.
Okay.
That's what the girls didn't like. I was the only one always had my own room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. And then, how was it like with 5 sisters? It was your job like to protect them? Did you get any fights, like have to beat somebody up or something for them?
Yeah, I had to, had to make my round, with my sisters, helping them out and keeping the guys away from them.
Yeah.
I did fighting on their end. They didn't have to do anything.
Oh, okay. They just went to their brother.
Yeah, I took care of everything.
Awesome. So, how was it growing up, like when you were really little? Do you remember anything when you like 10 and down? Like what did y'all play a lot outside or?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of play outside.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was out all the time, with the boy. Mom wouldn't let me do anything in the house for as I didn't have to worry about the cleaning.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Washing dishes and things. I wanted to, but no. I reckon she thought I was gonna end up funny, being around all these girls.
Yeah, I know your sisters didn't like that.
They didn't like it good. Jimmy don't get to do anything. Just get away from around everybody. Go outside. And that's where I spend most of my time, outside.
Gotcha. You just had to like cut the grass, stuff like that.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
The wood and
trash and everything.
Yes. Right.
Oh yeah, because you had to have wood for the fireplace and all that.
Yeah, I was the one that got the wood and coal.
Mm-hmm.
Thing. Did that.
Yeah, the man stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Gotcha. Okay. Did you guys do you remember going on any like vacations, fun vacations or anything like that?
Well, every year, basically, when school was out, we would go down to Albemarle. That's where my mom stayed.
Mm-hmm.
My uncles and aunts, everybody stayed down there.
Oh.
During that time. And so we would go down there, and that's when I learned to killing the hogs and chickens, and doing all that type thing. That's why I learned all of that, yeah.
You like doing that type of stuff?
I love to stick that knife in that hog's throat. Yeah, I love it, you know. You take that last breath, you know. Dead on it. It was good to me. And then stop stabbing me. I'm stabbing again. And he's not dead yet. You know, and I stab him again, you know. But I had to learn to stab him in the right place. You know?
Okay, yeah,
That's why I learned to kill.
Yeah.
Really kill. Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about that because I feel like we're so far removed. Because, you know, back then you had to be able to wring a chicken's neck, fry it up,
all of that.
change your own oil,
That's right.
make you some butter, milk,
Yeah,
wash your clothes
they
out
took
back.
care of that part, but, you know, all the manly part, you know, I did.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
They fried it up, but you...
Yeah, they didn't want to do that anyway. When that part came around, they were glad, you know, that I was out, you know, down there killing the hogs and all of that. They were in the house. They would stay away from that. They was, you know, they were afraid. Like taking, you know, breaking the neck, chicken neck and all of that, wringing the neck. Foot on the neck, pull them up, and, you know. I had broken the neck and cut the head off at the same time. You know, I would do stuff like that. No, you through. I made a game out of it. Chicken. Well, you know, after, you know, killing, you know, once you break their neck or whatever, they would jumping around on the ground.
They still be going, yeah.
Yeah, I like to take my knife. I take the knife and the pick and throw it at them and stick them, you know, and kill them. I like that part. I keep up with them.
Oh, man, that's funny.
I was always in the killing mode.
That is funny.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a bad incident that happened to me. While I was out picking blackberries, I got bit by a spider. I reckon it had to be one, but it bit me in my private area.
Oh.
So I started swelling up, bumps everywhere, all over me down there. But Daddy was out in his truck run, and he got home. He had to take me to the hospital. Well, he took me to the doctor's office. Okay, called the doctor, and well, after when he looked at me, he said, "That's it. No, we got to go take him to the hospital." So he took me to the hospital, and I was in the hospital for, my goodness, almost 6 months.
What?
Yeah, I had to learn how to walk all over again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got where I was bit. It bit me right there in my private area, and they had to cut part of that off.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, that's something I had to live with all these years. But I think I'm still living.
Right.
You know, but that had caused me, you know, a lot of problems, you know, because they did plastic surgery and they built me up down there. So that I was missing for a while with around the young ladies. And once I got out of hospital, we ended up moving from Hackett Street, and they didn't want me to be in a good place, and they were building these places, projects during that time, and we was able to get one, so that way I wouldn't, you know, everybody would have their own room.
Okay.
And that's what we did. That's
Gotcha.
how it started.
Okay. So what were your memories of growing up as a young boy?
That was the biggest part right there, you know, because I played sports. I played, you know, football, basketball, baseball, you name it. And then I was into martial arts.
Oh.
My neighbor that stayed on the other end in the project, he had went in service. He was a Green Beret. And he come home on the leave, and he was, he had one little brother, Pedro, and he wanted to teach him, but Pedro was timid. He wouldn't do it. So I asked him, I said, well, I'll do it. And he said, okay. He said, I'll teach you. He said, well, one thing, he said, long as you look after my brother. I said, well, I'll do that. And he taught me some good stuff during that time. And So I did that, went along with that. And then another thing, my next door neighbor was a boxer.
Oh, okay.
Next door, and my sisters would go over there when school was out and look after his children, his 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
And well, being around him, then he taught me the boxing move. So I had, I was pretty well equipped for boxing and taking care of my sisters.
Oh.
So a lot of it I took care. I taught Vert, my sister. I made her, box. She was just like my brother.
Mm.
And so that's one of the biggest things that I end up doing because after I learned to box and wrestle, I just played sports all the time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And except for when Daddy would come home, he was out there driving that truck. I went with him, and I learned to drive that 18,
Yeah.
years during that time when I was 12, 13. I could change the gears, and I could drive the truck. So, and he would let me drive. We'd be up in the mountain area, way out. We didn't have to worry about the police. He taught me how to drive, and that had brought me a long ways.
Okay.
And so that's what most of my young life, for as he taught me about hustling. I was when I was home, I had started delivering papers.
Oh, okay. You had a paper route?
Yeah, Greensboro Daily News. I delivered Future Outlook paper. I don't know if y'all heard of anything like that. I took a Post. It was a paper called the Post. I delivered those, and a paper called the Grit.
Mm-hmm.
I got hold of those too. So I was paper, all the way around trying to make money.
Uh-huh.
Because I know my daddy he couldn't give us money, like that to all my sisters. And so when I started living papers, I was able to take my sisters out with me sometime and pay them, especially on Sunday morning, because I knew we had to go to church.
Oh.
So I would take them, and they would help me.
Okay.
You
give them a little bit.
Yeah, give them a little, make sure they had a little money to spend for church, and they could buy them a few little, candies here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was able to do that.
Okay.
To help them out growing up.
That's good.
Now, how would you describe Mama Neat and Daddy James? What type of people were they?
Well, Daddy, he was outgoing. Cause when I played baseball and football, he would come to my games, and watch me. He would support me.
Mm-hmm.
Mama, she was a little worried about that. You out there trying to play, you won't get hurt. This and that. Mama, don't worry about that. Mama was sort of timid, and she, I know she worried a lot, but she had to worry about them girls. So, I said, there's no need of worrying about me, so I just left and did what I had to do, And as long as I could get back, and because I would slip out at night. We had the upstairs in the projects, and I would go out the window, jump out, and then when I would come in, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, they didn't know?
They didn't know I was gone, but those girls, especially Bert, and you've seen things on TV before, throwing little rocks at the window and so on. That was me. And the girl would get up and open the door for me.
Oh.
I never got caught. Yeah, so that was, Mama, she would tell me, you always going. You trying to do something, always trying to make some money. I said, Mama needs some money.
Oh.
And she didn't want to take it, but she would take the money anyway. So when I needed money, later on I started, hustling. I started shooting pool.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I needed, to get me a few dollars more to go out and shoot that pool room and get in a bigger game.
Yeah.
And she was always there, to help me.
Yeah.
And
So you pretty good at pool?
oh yeah, I say I'm pretty good. I got a stick back there now. I haven't used it in a while, but I got a stick back there now that's about over 40 years old, 45 years old. Yeah, that was the bread maker when I got married.
That's your lucky stick.
I ain't gonna say lucky, but I blessed it.
Oh, that's your blessed stick. You're blessed.
Yeah, I shot pool, man. Yeah, I was good. I had to admit the best guy in town. They called him Youngblood, and he was beating everybody everywhere.
Okay.
19 years old, I took him out.
Oh, wow.
And so I beat him because I used to stand back and watch him play, and so when I started playing, he saw, he said, "Oh man," he said, "you got an eye, you can, whatever way you look at them ball," he said, "you can make them like that." I could shoot from ball from like this end on that end, right there. I cut that ball in the corner or that way. That's almost a straightaway shot. People can't do that.
So you knew your angles really.
Yeah, I English too.
Yeah.
And when I beat him, he said, "Well, what you need to do, come up to the pool room sometime." And he said, "Guy won't shoot me." He said, "But I put that money." He said, "We can make some money together. They don't know you with me." But he said, "I ain't worried about you losing." He said, "Because, shoot them. I got you. I got your back."
So y'all had a hustle going on together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did that until later on. I started, traveling. Had guys, my friends, watch my back. But when you're going out of town, you got to watch it, going around these places. And so I always had at least 3 guys, something like that, with me. Put that pistol in your pocket. There you go. And so that's the way I would hustle, I was up in New York, Jersey, down in Florida. I moved around a lot,
Traveling too.
Yeah, when I was old enough, that's when Mama used to always worry when we would go out, every year. We would go down take us down to in the country, down in Albemarle, and then with half of that summer we'd spend it there, and then the other half we'd go to New York.
Sounds exciting.
Huh?
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, and she was always worried because soon as I would get out, we would get there and get everything in the place. They couldn't see me no more. How you leave? I mean, we don't know. We worried about you. You don't know these places, but they didn't know what I knew. I had to end up getting in the gang. I joined the gang up there in New York.
How was New York?
New York
Because
was...
you guys were like country, Greensboro.
Yeah, and I had something, I could go either way.
Okay.
So that helped me. Only thing I hated, because I wasn't one to steal or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But up in New York, that was what you had to do to get in the game. So you want to do something. They said, "Well, you got to go and steal something." I said, "Oh, Lord."
Oh, man.
I don't want to do this, but they said that's initiation.
Oh.
So we just blessed to be here, because I could have easily have gotten killed, gotten shot, but I made it through. The Lord was looking after me.
And the God.
Yeah, and I'll never forget. One time we were still hadn't moved out of the project. We was out and they had that's when Martin Luther King had got killed. Because I was up there at West Lawn Hospital, because I was working, help build that place. And I was working there, so all that jumped off during that time. And I know Market Street, you know anything about Market Street? On one side of Market Street, Auntie was on that side, and then on this side, you had the black it was basically on the, you say east side, northeast. And I had got caught over on this side, of Market Street on A&T side, and they had curfew because they had turned the cars over there, and one of the guys had got killed. It was a big write-up about him. And they was worried about me where I was working. They said, that could have been you. Because I was trying to get home that night. I had been out, messing around over there, hot shot. I was worked over there. And I left, and I said, how in the world am I going to get home? Because they had the National Guard.
It was a riot.
Yeah, it was a riot all up and down. We had curfew. We had to be off the street at 8 o'clock. And so I was out there, and I didn't know how in the world. And I'm sneaking around buildings, trying to figure out a way to get across Market Street to get back to my turf. And I didn't do it. And so happened, A&T, I was up by the dormitories, but I was up closer to the women's dormitory. And so somebody looked at it when they saw me. I said, boy, what you doing out there running, you know, something gonna happen. They waiting on you to come, through here. I mean, on the other side, you gonna get killed. They already killed one guy right up the street. And so the girls let me in the dormitory, in the women dormitory. That's where I stayed all night, in the dormitory with the women. And I'm blessed, because it didn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
So
Uncle Jimmy, I know y'all grew up in church, right? And so some of your siblings decided to, stay in the church.
Yeah.
Some of y'all decided to just, live life and have fun. So tell me a little bit about, you kind of described it already, but why did you decide to, I'm gonna live life, I'm gonna hustle, why did you decide to go that path?
Because I had told Daddy one time, I said, look, we got to go to church all the time, all during the week. And we go to the different houses, and they have prayer service. And I'll go with my mother and a couple of other ladies. You can see the pictures I got a couple of pictures in there. Mother Parker, I know you heard of her.
Yeah.
And we go to those places, and I told Daddy, I said, shoot, I'm tired. I said, I'm going to church all the time. And I said, I know one thing. I said, whenever I get a chance to get old enough, I said, I'm out of here. And so it took me, because after I, studied and stopped going, because I got away from him. I got when I got my own place,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to say nothing about that, man. I left because my daddy, he was trying to, keep us in, and I told him during that time, he started preaching in 1958. 58, that's when he preached his initial sermon.
Oh, okay. He got called into the ministry.
Yeah,
okay.
He was called, and him and Bishop Purcell.
Okay.
They did their initial sermons the same night.
Okay.
I was there for that, and I said, well, y'all have been did what you had to do, but I said, I get a chance, I'm not coming. I hurt myself because later on he bought me a car. Henry J. You heard of that?
I have.
Henry J. Daddy bought me a Henry J. I was taking driver's ed over Dudley. But I was stupid. Because we would go to church, and because I didn't want to be in church on Sunday night, I would crawl up under the benches and crawl out of church. And go home, and I would go home, and then my boys, I called them. During that time, we would push the car, get in the car, put it in neutral. You could go up the hill, push it up the hill and down the other street. It was a run all the way down, going downhill, and everybody jump in the car. And we would, have a good time. And I was getting away with that for a while. And then Daddy said, something ain't right. He said, this car had been moved. And he tricked me. He put a dime up under the tire.
Oh.
Yeah, one of the tires. And he said, I know he can't put it back in the exact same spot.
Right.
And that's how he caught me. And he took the car. So I didn't have a chance to get my license to drive the car.
Oh.
He sold that car because the way I was acting. And so I was mad. I mean, I was at fault, I admit. But I wouldn't do nothing, you know. It was hard for him to get along with me at that time. But, you know, I did that. And until, because like I said, I was hustling going on, and he kicked me out of the house. No, well, he did right. Because I had been drinking some wine, some plantation. And Jed had just been born. Jed was about 6 months old at the time. And so I had said something to his mother that night, you know, so the case we were done visiting. And he said, boy, you don't do that to women like that. I said, well, he said, you going to have to get out. I had to put you out of here. I said, no. I said, I put you out of this house. That's what I told my daddy. I told my daddy, you know, I put you out. He said, you're not going to do me. Boy, what you lost your mind. He said, that wine got you acting like that. He said, they said you were crazy, you would do things. But he said, now I believe it. Dad he had his pistol. He had to get his pistol and put it on me.
Oh, wow.
And he was backing up. And he backed up to the wall. I'm still walking up on it. And Mama, she was crying. Jimmy, please don't do that. Leave him alone. She said, just leave. We'll take care of the baby and so on. She can stay over here too. You just need to get out of here so you can cool off. And I'm still walking up on it. He couldn't go no further. He was up against the wall. I'm still easing up on him. He said, I got to shoot you. And I saw tears come out of his eye. And I knew right then, I said, he getting ready to pop me. And Mama was thinking, she had Jed. He was, you know, he was less than 6 months, about 6 months. And she took Jed and she got in between us with Jed and turned Jed around to me so I could see him. She said, Jimmy, now suppose, she said, now this could happen to you and him. She said, how would you feel if your son was going to try something about putting you out of the house? What would you do? And by that time, it hit me, and I started crying myself. I said, boy, you stupid, what you getting ready to do? And by her doing that, I backed off, left out of the house, and I just left. They didn't see me no more for about 2 weeks. I just stayed gone, you know, thinking about what I did. The street, you know, I had seen guys up there because they had a place right up the street, 2 blocks, everybody knew about the Paradise. And I wanted to, you know, go up there because they had pool room on each side of Paradise. On, you know, and so which I ended up running both of those pool rooms. But that's where I was going to those pool rooms. You know, I didn't want to start going to church. I'm not going to church no more because when I went home, I would go in there. Mama let me slip in there and sleep. But he called me. He said, boy, he said, you going to make up your mind right now. He said, what are you going to do? You going to keep running up and down the streets like you're doing? What? You going to have to listen to me. I got money in my pocket. I'm pulled out a roll. I said, what you have in your pocket? And you know, I knew I had more money than he had. And so I said, I got money, man. I keep money. I said, now, and you telling me to work. He said, but that's wrong what you're doing. He said, you're going to catch up with you. He said, you don't need to do that. And I kept running my mouth. He said, well, I tell you what. Since you going to talk like that, he said, you're going to get out of this house right now. Daddy went and got my clothes, put them in a sheet. Put all my clothes on a sheet. And hit the door. There I go up the street with a sheet full of clothes, dragging it, you know.
How old were you? Around what age?
18. Was 7. I was 17.
Okay.
I just turned 18. I had just turned 18. I was somewhere in between there during that time. And I had enough sense. I went up the street and I saw 3 houses empty. And one of the houses had a fireplace in it. And I went in the back door and I went in this house. And that's where I stayed in that house for, good gracious, probably 9 months or so. Just laying up in there, you know, I do a fire at night because it was in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
No heat?
No, that fire, I had a fireplace.
Okay.
You know, at night, you know, I'm just trying to fire that fireplace up and, you know, and I take that that sheet with them clothes, I get in there and roll up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's how I made it.
Mm-hmm.
Until I got tired because I got a job working it was Weaver, building how they start building the house it was Asbury Street. Do you know what Asbury Street is?
Mm-hmm.
Your grandmother used to stay right down on the corner, right across from the project. Those same projects I was helped build.
Oh.
And then the man told me, he says, look, me and another partner of mine, Bill, he said, y'all do a work. He said, I tell you what I do. He said, since you all come in every morning like you come in, he said, I'll send you to apprentice school. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, I send you to apprentice school and plus let you work here part-time and you go to apprentice school.
Oh.
I said, yeah, man, you know, I go for that. And I was out there building, that's how I ran into Jed's mother, because she was in school down at J.C. Price.
Okay.
And you know, she come through there and her girlfriend, she was a majorette, and, you know, hollering at them. And so, well, we ended up bumping heads and stayed together all that time, and I ended up marrying her.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I got my own apartment. They had built apartments over there on English Street. You know where English Street is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you see there was some apartment. Okay, which way should you come? If you go, coming from McConnell Road, going to Market Street, it's apartments down there on the right-hand side. 2-story apartments. And they had just built those apartments. They built those apartments for auntie students. You know, anybody that they need an apartment, they said, well, they can move in these apartments, or we'll let them have apartments. They can pay the rent and whatever. Me being right there at that age, every night, 18, 17, 18, I had to be about 18 at that time. And they looked at my credentials. Yeah, you were old enough. Then you got a job. Well, you can have an apartment. And that's why I got my first apartment. When I come out from down there and that
This
cold
is still
place.
the 60s? This is still the 60s?
That was in the,
70s?
no, let me see. 18 was in 60, yeah, it was 60, early 60s. It was around 62, I think, when the time, you know, during that time when I started making a move to do that.
So you were really heavy into construction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I worked around construction. I worked weaver. You know, backhoes and all those things.
Yeah.
You know, I learned I could operate those things. Your granddaddy, he was working for the company doing what you call oh Lord, seeming he could.
Yes, yeah, I know.
He was working there, so he got me a job working there with him.
Oh, okay.
And so that's what
Making cement and all that.
Yeah, I started doing that, and I did a lot of work. That some of it I say, well, they probably gone now. That was uptown. A lot of work I built those pots for flower plants and things like that. The place off of the highway, the tall building on the left, are you going down? I can't even think of the name of the place. But anyway, I built, things for it as well. I was working. I couldn't stand height, but I made myself go and do it. Matter of fact, I had got up so high I wasn't paying no attention to what I was doing. They had to get the crane to get me down. I said, yeah, I can't go down. I looked down, no, what am I doing up here? You know, this man said, you doing good work? I said, sir, I can't do it. And they wanted me to go out on a ship, you know, over the water, you know, building. And I said, no, I'm not doing that, you know. I said, and so I backed up. So.
Now, did you stop hustling and you just working 9 to 5?
I hadn't started hustling yet,
Oh,
I was just making all the bits and pieces, you know.
Yeah, because 9 to 5, that money's kind of slow. But you were used to doing pool and getting money.
On the weekend I was, you know, hustling.
So you was on the weekend, okay?
Yeah, on the weekend mostly. I go in the pool room and I end up with pretty good money, pocket full, because I could bet. I'll be in the pool room up to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
You know,
then you will work during the week.
Yeah, work during the week.
Okay.
You know, and so, matter of fact, I started, oh Lord, I don't know what to tell them that or not, because I started smoking pot.
It's all good.
Early.
I was 14, 13. Up there in New York. I stayed in New York up there for about a week.
You were with the Teddy James family in New York?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Obama family.
Was it Albemarle?
Well, that was Daddy's family in Albemarle.
Oh.
Her family was around here mostly. Ooh. I didn't do anything much. She had a brother. Now, I learned, you know, being smoking, because he smoked all the time, and he drank all the time. He drank a lot of beer, and so, you know, I got some of that from him.
Mm-hmm.
That was your cousin, you said?
No, that was my uncle.
Oh, your uncle.
My mother's.
Uncle Junior?
You ain't never see him.
No, I didn't meet him, no.
Huh?
No, I didn't see him. I just seen a picture, but I never seen him.
Yeah. Yeah, he was, you know, he would work, but he would drink a lot. And I got, you know, we'll go over his house and sneak, you know, to get by stuff. Me and my cousin Teddy. And we were together a lot because I didn't have no brother, but he was always around me. I had to look after him. He was younger. And whatever I said during that time, you know, I didn't have to worry about it. He would go for it. But
you said you was in New York for about a week, and then you came back to North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean that was during that time, but I back and forth a lot, you know. Well, Walker. I'm trying to think of this. Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, Jimi
Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix. That's when the first big show that I went to with Jimi Hendrix. I was up there and my uncle.
Marvin Gaye was out there too.
Yeah, all of them, you know, was you know, trying to do their thing. They were coming to Greensboro over there on Winslow Center, over there off of Lee Street.
Yeah.
And you may have seen that. You don't know nothing about that, dude. Winslow Center.
The recreation center.
Yeah, recreation center. That's where I, you know, got a lot of more pool hustling and table tennis. I love that, you know.
So somebody would say, "Hey Jimmy, I bet you $50 I can beat you," and you'll be
bring
like,
it on.
Right.
You ain't said nothing. Yeah, but during that time, see, and table tennis, see, you don't hear a lot about it, but that's how I got my nickname.
What?
Maybe Dookie.
Dookie D.
Oh,
Dookie D.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of people, let me tell you about it, because a lot of people don't know, they might, you know, come up the wrong thing, because they can't think of nothing else. Dookie D. I got that name basically in the projects. They had the tables and stuff out there, you know, and playing. And like I said, I was good. I like sports.
Yeah,
And you know, hey, I would get into it wholeheartedly. And I would play, and the guy would be mad because they just think they could win, but they couldn't win. And most time when I would beat them, they would curse. They would say, oh, S-H-I-T. Oh, S-H-I-T. Oh, yeah. all kinds of stuff. And then they came up with the thing, said, playground director, no, y'all can't do that cursing on the playground. Y'all got to stop that out. You can't do it. So when I start with whoop them, instead of them saying, yes.
They say Dookie.
They said Dookie. So Dookie. You know, they want to say the other word, but they wouldn't say it, but they would say Dookie and put, you know, then somebody said, that's what need to call you Dookie. And my last name being Davis, that's where the Dookie D come from.
Okay.
Dookie Davis. They even call me that. I done been called that in church too. They called me up to preach one something and the person forgot. he said, we call Reverend Dookie D on the church roll. They rolled that Sunday. It was something, but you know, it was all put together.
So you were really good at table tennis.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were really good at table tennis.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
pool.
love
And
it.
pool.
Yeah, those two. I would love to. I had trophies and a whole lot of stuff. You know, playing table tennis and pool. The boys couldn't beat me, you know, around me. Mm-hmm. They had to get these people, you know, pool. Table tennis was something else. But shooting pool, that's when I had to deal with the people that basically had pool rooms and so on.
Yeah.
And I go in there and they would get some of the guys supposed to be good and try to, you know, put money in their pocket.
Yeah.
And shoot, I didn't care. The last, what's called a place uptown, no, it's not there no more. But you know, white people and white guy. And the last, I beat him out of $2,300. That was the last game that I, you know, played up there with him because I come around.
Big money.
Oh yeah, when you hustle, you can have it. I mean, you know, you can come up with that money. It didn't care. The more money that I could play with, I like pressure.
Oh.
Instead of a lot of people tremble when you get the pressure shots and so on, I would get better.
You rise to the occasion.
Yeah, I ride for it.
Like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And my partner, friends, man, it don't make no sense. You all let somebody win sometime, you know, like that. Man, why you take everything so serious? And you know, it was like that. And then when I was boxing and so on, hey, no, I ain't letting you get serious. If I don't get serious with you, then you gonna think you can win. You might try, you know, anything. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did. I just love pressure. All of my stuff.
So you told us about, you know, 18, about 20. So what did your 20s and 30s look like? So did you continue to do the apprentice thing or? Yeah,
well, I messed up. I was working for the meal, and it did something. I hurt what did I hurt? My leg, something real bad.
Is that
I
brick,
had failed.
That brick building mill? Is that the one
It
you're
would
talking
be
about?
Cone Mill.
Cone Mills, yeah.
Mill.
Yeah, see they had the
Revolution
yeah,
Mill,
they still got it. They got a big name on it right
Yeah,
now.
we seen it.
Yeah, they renovated it.
Yeah, they renovated it.
Yeah, and then they started. I went over there. I got some of my certificates that I've got for working over there because I went to classes over there.
They was making what, jeans or denim?
Yeah,
So they was making denim.
Yeah. Then it had changed up. You know, I did good because I got hurt. I was out of work, and I didn't have the money making my payments on my apartment.
Oh.
And the man, I went to work like a fool. Was supposed to have been out of work, you know. They, paying me. And I went to work. I said, I'm going to go to work and get me some. I wasn't thinking. And the man looked, somebody went and told us, said, James Davis out there working. The man said, he ain't supposed to be working. He's out, we got these paperwork and we paying him. called me in the office. Boy, you just messed up. Said, you do good, but see, you done messed up. You wasn't thinking. He said, we gotta fire you.
Oh.
Yeah, we gotta let you go because if you had gotten hurt again, you would have cost us a whole lot of money.
Yeah. So you got fired, but you still had these bills that you had to pay.
Yeah, and so that's when I started hustling a little bit more.
More full time.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. Well, I started with drugs. I could get drugs, and I started hustling drugs, and I was making money during that time, hustling, and I had a pocket full.
Yeah.
Even more money, but I shouldn't have been doing that. You know, and one thing led to another, and that was just pot, because I started up in New York. I started smoking when I was 13 years old.
So you said that you started using marijuana around age 12 or 13.
13 years.
And, normally when people start using it that early, you develop a dependency or an addiction. So, like, how did that go with you, like, using that so early?
When I was up in New York, I used it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Well, I reckon I can see it now. My uncle, I won't say which one. My uncle was in his service, and that's what he got hooked up with the guy while he was in service.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, he would come when he would come home on leave and so on. Man, you know those duffel bags, how big those duffel bags are?
Yeah.
Full of pot marijuana.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it would be full. Packed. He would get it through.
Okay.
And bring it home. And that's what he had been doing. He had been, hustling. Everybody knew him because he was hustling like that. And I didn't know it, my cousin, one of my cousins, my oldest cousin, not the older, but Jesse. He stayed in the house with me. That was his oldest son. He had found the stash, and he was,
taking a little bit.
Doing it. He was younger. Jesse was younger than I, 2 years younger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he was like 10 or something?
He was 11 when I learned, when he turned me on. That's how I got involved in the game, because Jesse was hooked up in the game already.
Oh.
Especially, and I up there and then try to take care of, him.
Yeah.
So, because he was by himself out there, and then when he had somebody he could depend on, hey, my cousin is here now, and they wanted me, you won't have to join the gang and all of this and so on, and that's how I got started.
Okay.
In the game, but what they didn't know what my uncle had. I couldn't take no chance on nothing happening to him, because we were sneaking. Jesse would go in the bag. He took me back and showed me what was in the bag. And then it was time for me to come back to Greensboro.
Mm-hmm.
When I come back to Greensboro, we always got a brown paper bag.
Oh, y'all took some?
Filled it up. Filled it up for me to bring back here.
Okay, so y'all would take some and bring it back to Greensboro.
Well, they wouldn't know y'all. They didn't know about it. They didn't know what was going on.
Oh, right.
And I would come back, sneaking, and have stuff stuck all down in my name. I had a way to get it in different places.
Right. Okay.
And I would bring it back and smoke, because back during that time, man, that was, we talking about in the 50s.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Nobody, they didn't know about the pot and so on.
Right.
Around here in the area when I was in school. So I would come back and I would have it. And Well, I did good because I had something that the guy didn't know about and they liked it, you know. And I would take me a couple of joints or something to school and turn different ones on, let them hit it. That's how a lot of them, I hate it, but a lot of them got started, you know, me doing what I was doing.
Gotcha.
And
were you selling it or you just letting them try it?
I was letting them try it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I was letting them try it. And, well, you know, I made a few dollars here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did until it was gone. Now, till I got old enough, then I could, you know, find my way back. I would go up to New York. And the first problem that I had, and I kept money, you know, because like I said, they had that little hustle on the side. I could pick up a few dollars, $3 here and there. And in the gym class, we had to take off our clothes, put on the gym clothes. Somebody had scoped the money I had and went in my pocket, you know, and got my money.
Mm-hmm.
We come, after we came back, you know, got back in the locker, I looked for my money. My money was gone, and oh man, I was red hot. Try to tell the gym teacher, oh, they laugh, man, you had no money, like, you know. I said, well, somebody had taken my money. So they had left out. Guy was in that shower. So what I did, I had already started taking a ice pick. Oh Lord, that was my sure, man. I could do a lot with an ice pick. I could throw it. It wasn't nothing for me to throw that ice pick from here to up there and hit what I wanted. I could stick it, you know, but I came out ice pick and I had a Hawk wheel. And I changed the ice pick over to a switchblade. I like that because it was, you know, straight and it was locked in.
Mm-hmm.
But I pulled my knife out that day. I had the whole gym class. And other class, they had guys in there as well. And the man came, the guy was in there screaming, what's going on? I had the whole gym class backed up in the shower. Mm-hmm. Everybody the butt naked. I had the blood. All right, somebody gonna get my money. I want to know who it is, you know. Get my money. They ended up, I'm crying. This fool gonna hurt somebody. I said, yeah, I sure, you know. And the gym instructor so on teach, hey, you can't do that. You can't do that. You know. And so that's how I basically got started for me. They saying I would do something. Mm-hmm. He'll hurt somebody.
Now, how did you get to the point where you started like selling?
Oh, you talking about that selling part? Well, it wasn't really no. There was a few dollars in the pot. I didn't start basically selling. I got to the heroin. Even now, they talk that bloody murder against the heroin. And back then, you know, they thought it was rough. But I don't know how I really got messed up with the heroin. Mm-hmm. Because I was afraid of a needle. Mm-hmm. And they had broke a needle off me in the hospital. Mm.
Oh.
Yeah, they had to go get that needle taken out of me in the hospital, what they did. Mm. So that's why I don't understand.
So you always scared of needles?
Yeah. How can you scared of you one of a needle? How in the world you start shooting heroin?
Did you sell it first and then you started?
No, I got hooked on it. That's when I started selling it because I could make the money. Because I had a couple of partners that was, you know, was working at places like, I don't know, a place called Paradise.
This is back in the 60s or 70s?
This is back in the 60s.
60s, okay.
Yeah. And that's how I got started most of my cousins up north, they got hooked up in different things,
yeah.
And one came down on my first wife, my first marriage. Her cousin had come down from Baltimore, and he was hooked on heroin. And I wasn't messing with it like that. I would, snort a little bit here and there. I wasn't thinking about no needle.
Right.
And so I was sitting there, me and my my brother-in-law on the first marriage, he was afraid of a needle too, so his cousin came down and he over to my house, and so he was in the bathroom for a while. Man, come on out of there! What you doing? And finally opened the door. He was in there getting off, with the heroin. Man, what in the world? Up here in my house doing that mess,
Yeah.
And but I was curious too, because he would put that needle in the arm within, my goodness, a few seconds. He was high. I said, I don't believe that. We're saying, man, you stop playing. You know how, like, yeah, man. And I looked at my brother-in-law, he looking at me. And the guy, he was saying, y'all want to try? I said, I'm curious.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious because I don't believe you got high like that. But I like to see. My brother, he was scared too. He said, well, I tell you what, man. He said, well, if you tried, I've tried. And I was saying to him, likewise.
Yeah.
I said, I'd like to know. I said, they ain't gonna kill us the first time like that. And he pulled out the work, peeled up the syringe, and then we flipped for it to see who was gonna try it first. Well, I lost. And so he's thinking, Uncle, he said, won't take no. He said, you won't know it. He said, couple of seconds, you won't know what happened.
Yeah.
You won't feel it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So he mixed the stuff up. And sure enough, he stuck it in my arm. Before he could get the thing out and so on, I was like, oh my goodness. And got high like this, that quick. He wasn't lying, man. My brother-in-law, he was, sitting over there, he was messed up. I don't know, messed up. I said, well, dog, but I don't like the fact that, you doing that. I said, you get away from me. And so got him away, but he did some more. I saw how he did it. So we decided to, one day, I could get heroin already, because I had another friend. He was working up there at the Paradise. He was a curb hop. But he was, had been getting it anyway. And he was older, and he was getting it. And I liked it that way because he was, snorting it.
Oh, you got to use the needle.
No, I didn't use the needle. He had been snorting it all the time.
It's still New York City, right?
No, I done came back to Greenville.
Okay.
And so we snorted, every weekend. Just on the weekend.
Yep.
He would, get paid, and he would get some, and we would go out together. He had a bunch of money because he was working.
Yeah.
And, and because I had the card in, and we would go, hook up, and then that was it. He said, turn me on. And that's how I really
got started with it.
And then after I learned I was a fast learner. and I saw what to do, how to stick it in you, to to take that hit that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other guy, he can't do me. We get battle works. He said, I buy everything. You know how to do it. He trusted me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mixed it up and everything. And sure enough, gave him a hit. Hey, man, you right on it. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't thinking about letting nobody hit me with it. I was
right.
doing myself, you know.
Right.
And that's what I did. And that's how I got started. And then I was around the guys that different ones. I learned that they was messing with it. And that's how I got started.
Now, when did you realize that you had an addiction, or that you couldn't like stop it?
When we had I had got some and didn't have sense enough to get another needle at that time. And me and the guy up there that was working, he was older than I. He said, well, my battle stuff. He said, if you know you're going to fix it up for me. I said, yeah. So I did that, and we started, working together like that. And then this particular time I messed up. Using the same needle, messed around and got our blood mixed up.
Oh.
That's when I learned, the hard way. Because I had, which I was married and at the time, and I said, Lord, my eyes had to start turning yellow. My hands were yellow on the inside of my hands. And I was telling my first wife, I said, Lord, I didn't want nothing. I said, I am sick. I said, I am truly sick. Something got to be done. I said, just take me to the hospital because I can't make it like this. She took me to the head of doctor on, that was Bimbo Road. Dr. Alexander. You might have heard of the lawyer Alexander. She was a lawyer and he was a doctor. And went to him. Wife took me to him because they called him because Daddy had, when I got playing football and lost my teeth, we had to go to him. He was the one pulling my teeth out. I didn't get them knocked out, I got them knocked loose. And I know he would open up certain times he can get the money, he would open his office up. So it was that night, and we went up there, and he looked and saw me, and he said, man, he said, you done messed up, son. He said, you got yellow jaundice. What? He said, I'm going to tell you, he said, you got to go in the hospital.
What's it called?
Yellow jaundice.
Yellow jaundice, okay.
Yeah, I looked that up. And because it had my eyes yellow, my hands were yellow, I was just messed up. Went to hospital, and so I found out the friend that I was dealing with, he was messed up too. So I was able to tell him
what he had.
Huh?
What he had.
Yeah, he had the same thing. So I said, you need to get it checked out. I had someone to tell him, have him come up here and see me. And he was messed up when he got up there. He would have died if he hadn't came, to see me. And I had, talking to the right people. So they messed around and put him in the hospital. I stayed in the hospital, man, almost 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, messed up because he said, the doctor said, you get out, you supposed to go ahead and start messing with that heroin again. And he said, you don't need to. He said, I'm going to tell you, he said, and I was saying, I want to get out, going home. He said, I'm keeping you in here like that because we don't want you to get messed up with that heroin.
Oh, they're trying to get you to detox.
Get it out,
okay.
Yeah. So you was going through some withdrawals and stuff like that?
Yeah, I had to went through that, and I told him, I said, I just want to go home. And they wouldn't do it, so I signed myself out of the hospital. I said, I got enough sense. I'm not going to start messing with stuff like that and mess myself up. I know what's going on. You all might not believe it, but I do.
Yeah.
So I did.
Overdosing and stuff? How did it almost happen to you?
Yeah, 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 that was before I had gotten busted. I'll never forget it. It was on a Sunday. I always kept someone around me that would, when I would go to get drugs, the heroin, I would have someone to test it out for me.
Okay.
I wouldn't have to test it, mess with it myself straight out. I always had someone to, and they enjoyed it because they were getting free.
Oh, yeah, to get it free. Okay.
Yeah, but taking a chance still, I do it for you. I do it. Shoot it, see how good it is. And once I see that it was basically all right, you know, I was able to monitor them and so on, and then I would, you know, go from there, you know, myself. But this particular time, I never forget, it was on a Sunday. And I had gotten some drugs, some new drugs, come to town. That was that brown hair run. And I didn't have, this person had got locked up. So I just didn't like messing with anybody. And I got, and I had a couple of guys with me. And I decided to do it myself. Oh, and that's when I OD'd. I hate that because I could have been gone.
Oh, yeah.
At that time, and I was, it so happened they would listen to me. My cousin was with me that particular time, and everybody was they were fixing up their shot. And I went on and did it, and did a certain amount, and wouldn't allow them to shoot no more. And I did, and I failed it. Oh my God.
Like you knew you took too much or something was off with
stuff
it?
I mean, it potent.
Oh.
Really, it was brown hair run.
What's it normally look like?
Huh?
Brown, or what's the other color?
What, white?
It's white?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this was that brown, some brown hair run mixture. It was 100%.
Ooh.
Just pure.
Pure. And I wasn't messing around. I went on to put the stuff on there, the shots that I would take. I put that in there, you know, that particular shot. And I don't know, telling me, don't do it. I wasn't paying no attention. I'm too busy messing with them, with the other two, my cousin and somebody else. And I was saying, no, don't do it. Don't do it yet. Don't do it. Let me finish. I did that stuff, man, and I could feel it when it hit me on the inside. I said, oh, Lord.
It's too strong.
I said, this stuff is, first it's good. Some good stuff, you know, make a lot of money on it because I can cut it, and double up on it and really triple cut it. And, but I kept on going. It kept on taking me out. It was higher. Look at that way. I said, oh my goodness. And I went up and tissue was in my cabinet, bottom cabinet. And so, I had blood on my arm, and I went down to get the tissue. You know, I did like that. I said, oh my God. I couldn't get the tissue. I said, man, And so I'm determined I was going to get that tissue. So I had to go down there again, and I reached and I just grabbed, snatched it, and come up. When I come up, I come back like this. That was it. I was headed down. I couldn't control myself no more. I was out of control. I said, Lord, I said, I'm through. I said, oh, dear, and I was hollering at my cousin. I said, man, hold it, please. Please, oh, listen to me. Listen to me now. Don't do it. Why do I said, man, this stuff is kicking my tail right now. I said, I'm going out. I said, please don't do it. I said, if you're going to do it, just do just a pinch. That's all. Do that. I said, and the way I got to stop, I said, I give you some more later on. And that's what stopped. And my cousin took it, and he was messed up still. He did just a pinch. And he was saying, I said, get me out of here. So they got me out of the house, walked me, and you know, you keep moving.
Oh, you had to like walk it off?
Yeah, walk it off. So I started walking. I walked for over 3 hours. Just walking.
Try to sweat it out.
Around the complex, just walking, you know, and trying to keep from going out. And it was on a Sunday. I said, Lord, I said, I know I'm wrong, but help me.
Yeah.
I said, help me right now. In the name of Jesus, help me. I know I should not have did that. And then all of a sudden, you know, it eased up on me. I was back in control. That stuff there, I stayed high all day. I usually could get me a couple of hands off of whatever I did. That day, all day long, I was messed up. Maybe to go around some of the other guys, because by then I had, you know, quite a few guys that were older, with, you know, messing with it, that was in the bands. They were traveling, playing the music, different ones.
Yeah, it was heavy.
And so, and I had a lot of them because I was getting, you know, I knew I could get some good stuff. And when I really got hooked into, you know, selling myself, or selling it for myself to build my clientele, I had, it was 1, 2, 3, 5 of them. We got together and oh Lord, I don't know if I should have went into that part or not. But anyway, we did some things and got the money, got more money, and all of them. Well, I'm telling you, we went into a place. We went and robbed the place, and got into that part. That's what I hated. I found out later on. One of the guys, when we had robbed we had went and robbed the place. And I told them, don't go back to the same place, because we was working at a place and got the check machine and with the government stamp, all that stuff was on there. So there wasn't no problem to make the check, because it went in the place and took checks out of the back of the checkbook. And did that, and wasn't long. We had got over $20,000 in a week. But I told them not to go to the same place. And my cousin went to a place, you know, because he was always coming around me, you know, watching me. And I told him not to go back to the same place no more. You know, you've been there, get the money, leave it alone. And they ended up, you know, going back to the same place. The people knew and saw him run them down, chase them down the street. And so I told him, well, you on your own. Y'all did that, so you know you're gonna have to fight it out. I don't want to hear nothing else about it. I did not get caught, so don't bring my name up into this thing. Cause if you do, you know you're gonna have a bad problem that you won't know nothing else about. And that's how I got started. That's the reason I was saying this about that because everybody in the car, when that happened, we had a certain amount of money. And they turned around, and I had made up my mind. I said, I'll get most of this money. That's what I said. Them guys, they want to shoot it all the time. I wasn't trying to do that. You know, I wanted some money so I could make it. Because I had gotten married. And all the money that was in the car, because the government, the machine that had the government stamp and everything on it. You know, so with no problem to make that money. And in the end all the money that was in the car, I think about $500 that I didn't get from each one of them. I got all the money. I didn't and put it up. And that's how I'm saying this. That's how I got my start.
Oh, that's how you got the cash to buy.
Yeah, that's how I really got the cash. You know, to buy a large amount.
Okay.
I was headed toward Frank. That's I had met him. And he was doing some things. We bumped heads, and at that point we could get X amount.
Because Frank Lucas was from Greensboro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was selling as well.
They fought movie from
wow.
here.
So he was selling as well. He was a big dog at this point.
Yeah, he was doing good. The reason I didn't want to deal with that because he was talking about going. That's when he had making a trip over there.
A trip? What do you mean?
Overseas, and they showed it in there.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was going over there, catching the plane, had a partner in service as well. That's how we making most of the money, guys in service. They were getting through. But I said, I wasn't catching no plane going over there, especially over there in that jungle.
It was a jungle.
Huh?
It was a jungle, all right.
Yeah, it was a jungle. I had a chance to, really go, but I said I'm not gonna do that. I had a couple more partners that they got out of hand, doing what they were doing. I always try to keep my head, but I know one thing. Oh God, thank you. One thing that helped me. The reason I didn't really just lose control. Oh, God.
Okay.
God. But God. But God.
Right, yes. How you were raised that really helped you.
Yes, it did.
Because you always have it in you. Even if you're straight, it's always in you.
Even if you're straight.
In your conscious.
Yeah, I always prayed. I always prayed. Regardless of what I was doing. Oh, I prayed. I was out there all night in no places shooting. When I was shoot pool, they lock us up in the place. I would be praying after 12 o'clock. I do the same thing right now. Right now. I would start praying after 12. Lord, you know, have your way in my life. Lord, please forgive me for what I'm doing. I would pray. Plus, I deal with him because the other guys were doing. Oh,
was that the Philippines or the Vietnam or like overseas?
That was during that time. That was
definitely Asia or something.
Yeah, it was back over there. I told him I wasn't going. I wouldn't, you know. I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't trying to just get rich.
He was trying to be like this famous big, You were never trying to be that.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to do it because
Nicky Barnes in New York doing that.
Yeah, different ones. But I knew them, but I wasn't trying to do it like that. I wasn't trying to go out there and trying to be the big man. A big man. I wasn't doing it, and that would have saved me to some degree by me not. Doing that because that'll put me up there on a whole different level.
The FBI and all that. So at this time you were selling, you were doing okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I was doing all right with what I was doing. I was they trusted me.
Doing Greensboro okay.
I wasn't trying, and I didn't just stay around here. All these cities. Cities, all these cities. I done went to all of them and made money in all the cities. It's going by. I wasn't trying to stay, trying to pick up no name nowhere. I might be here today, then tomorrow, be in another city.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I wasn't still around. They couldn't finger point, They couldn't get me like that,
So you were buying it from Frank? Like you were buying bulk from him and then
sell it?
Okay.
Not just him, different other as well. I would get it like that. I move around. I wouldn't stay hooked up with no one person because I knew that was a problem. See you coming, whatever. I done ran back and forth down that highway. Running from the man, they done tried to get me, and I just thank God he looked after me. He have looked after me.
So how did y'all get into it, you and Frank? What was it about?
Well, about the money, about the drug. We're just talking about the drug.
Oh, okay.
And I'm doing this and that. I'm doing this and that. It's quite a few other, guys that were doing things in other cities, It wasn't nothing like I could mess around and you can't go nowhere now on a plane. I could catch a plane back during the day, take a plane and take 3 of my buddies, 4 with them. Let's go, man. Like that day. I just feel like going. Come on. And like y'all sitting in here, let's get away from here. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get, no, you ain't going to get nothing. That's where I was. What you need, I buy for you. I buy clothes. I bought clothes. We go somewhere and get a whole new set of clothes.
How much money were you making?
Not much money.
You said you buying a whole new set of clothes.
Yeah, I could make it. Wasn't nothing to make no money. I could get out here today. It wasn't nothing to make money. $30,000 a day.
A day? Wait. You said $130,000 a day?
No, I said, well, it could go up to that much. It has.
What? So you had millions?
Oh, well, I ain't trying to do nothing now. I done messed around and went out here. That's where everybody try to find out what I'm doing, what I do with the money. I ain't
okay,
working
we got an
no
offshore
more.
account.
Yeah, trying to find out about my money.
Put me in your will.
Y'all ain't got me in yours. I know you got balls.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So you were doing it big then. You wasn't like small time.
I did enough.
Wow.
to get what I wanted.
But you stay low key though. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't just go running out here and just do everything, you know, beat yourself up like that. You got 2 minutes. That's how I got busted.
Yeah, tell us about that. Like, what happened?
Busted. I left walking. At the motel, I walked. I didn't drive because I know they was on my car, was looking for me. Waiting on me to make a move. And they, I had stuff to stand. I couldn't go and get it.
You knew they were on to you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, 90-something kilos.
Whoa.
Huh? I had to let it go.
Dang. Because you knew they was waiting for you to come.
They were waiting on me.
Oh.
They were gonna lock you right up.
That's right.
Mm.
So they took me uptown. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't really do anything. They said, we got him.
They couldn't prove it, yeah.
We don't get him, yeah. The police came down on me. I'll never forget that day. I was fighting. A lot of people didn't believe it. I had probably 5 miles from here. Waiting on me because they knew I like shooting pool. I was going around, and you know it. They were waiting on me there, or everywhere I went. I didn't drive, I walked. I used to go to places. That's when I had my van.
Mm.
And I kept a bicycle in my van. Yeah.
Just in case you had to get away, yeah.
No, well, I would go make move transactions.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
Ride my bicycle. They didn't know who I was, going to different places.
Mm.
Now, like I said, wasn't in no shape, wasn't nothing me to ride to Winston-Salem or Hind Point, even places like that. My bicycle.
Wow.
Triathlon.
Let's go. 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm down the highway.
Dang.
On your bicycle.
On the bicycle.
So how did you get busted? Like, did you see it coming, or was it a surprise?
Well, that particular time, like I said, they hadn't tried to set me up that particular last time. They were waiting. Like I said, had all those kilos. You're not gonna leave them.
Yeah.
You're not gonna leave that.
Right.
Coming back, I'm looking at if I get that, you want to pick that up, I'm through.
Right.
Huh?
Cash that out, you good.
Yeah, if I could make the money off of it, that's good. But if I want to stay out here, I gotta forget about the money.
What was you making off one of them kilos?
Oh man.
Dang, he's a millionaire.
Was it $10,000?
It wasn't nothing, man, to make that kind of money.
Oh,
Mm.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing to make that kind of money, man. But making it, and then you leave, you know, go to one place to another. You see, you go and stay in a place a couple of days or something like that. Then they got tabs on you.
Yeah.
You know, they can follow you up. But, you know, I had enough sense. I'm not going to do that. You're not going to be able to go to where you think I might be tomorrow. I'm not doing that. Driving.
So you wouldn't have got caught. You pretty much just got set up.
Yeah.
That's how they got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you seen them cops coming, did you think about running? Or you was like,
well, I had to run. Oh, shoot. When I went to that pool room, I didn't have a chance. I got close. I saw somebody back then was in a telephone booth. Had a telephone booth there.
Telephone booths, yeah.
Yeah, telephone booth.
With the quarters.
Yeah. And I said, no. That's not right. Go over here. That's not right. Ain't right. So they said, we're going to get it some kind of way. Anyway, they thought I didn't have no more sense and they might get me to, you know, make crave the move or something. Or they going to set me up some kind of way. I got down there and the police come out on me, right down up on Market Street. Market and Raleigh. And they come out there, man, and had them belly sticks. I didn't have nothing, so here we go. I got the roll now.
Yeah.
I got to fight these guys, and I can't hurt them. I got to keep them off of me. But I can't. If I hurt them, I'm in trouble. It was. Hey, what you think somebody come at you like that thing over there? You seen the police stick? I got that there in the
Billy Club.
8 Billy Club against you. 8.
Dang.
8 police.
So you wanted to fight? You didn't want to just say, okay, y'all got me, take me?
Oh, that's right. I said, no. They ain't going. They come in like that. I wasn't ready to go.
Because they said, I ain't going. No.
I'm going to get off of me. Y'all don't have nothing. I didn't have nothing on me at the time.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Thank God you didn't, because you probably would have killed one of them cops.
Yeah, I would have had to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm up there and they had them sticks and it wasn't nothing but white.
Oh,
yeah. So
It was all white. So I'm going through my thing. They them sticks and the first one I messed around and tripped and took his stick, and I took his. I said, well, I got defense now.
Oh, shoot.
I know how to use this stick, to keep them from hitting me. So they swinging, I'm blocking and punching them and hitting them in the chest and upside the head, up under the throat. I ain't killing them, knock them down. When they coming at me, but they scared. They said, we don't have no, we can't do this guy any kind of way.
You know karate, so you can swing that stick around.
Yeah,
that's right.
Karate. Well, all of it, I didn't just use, it wasn't just karate.
Boxing.
Yeah, I used all my skills together.
Okay.
That's the thing. You can't just use no one thing. They'll try to come up with, well, we know this move or whatever. I do here and I go into something else,
Yeah.
I ain't never boxed everybody talking about I can box like this, Then, but I can go here too. And then after that,
You switch it up.
Go to the front.
Right.
And then I can take it around, I'm shifting.
Right.
Moving this way, that way. They don't know which way I'm moving.
You was a
Yeah.
bad man.
Man. 8 on 1. Goodness.
Yeah, 8 of them, and they couldn't take me down. They might have if it had lasted. And what saved me was the black guy showed up. A black cop, Manus. He showed up. And he's saying, what are y'all doing to the man? We out there in the field behind the building. What are y'all trying to do to the man? I said, man, take me. I said, I'm trying to give up. They won't let me. I said, they're trying to hurt me. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I give up my stick. I said, but you got to help me. I said, I'll go in with you. Just like that.
Oh, because they probably would have killed you.
They're trying to kill you.
That what they would have did. That what they were trying to
They're
do.
trying to beat you to death.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're going to make me look bad. A big opening in the paper. Me all blooded up and so on.
Oh.
They got a couple of licks in, yeah. But I was able to push them off, and keep moving.
Yeah.
And Max said, well, I got it. He said, I'll take it. Just like that. That was safe.
Oh,
He got out to the car. He said, come on. He said, come on. You get with me.
I was like the angel right
Yeah. That was the angel sent
Mm.
for me that day. And he took I got Hunt. Here's Billy. I said, here you go.
Billy Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we walked. He said, just stay right here with me. Walk to the car. He was driving, got in there. Boy, they were mad.
They was mad.
They were sure enough mad. And then when we got in court and went before the judge, and everybody was in there, And, you know, more people in there. And
this was like for your sentencing and everything?
No, that was before the sentence.
Gotcha.
You know, that's after they had gotten me. And see, just like on a Friday, I didn't go to court until that Monday. I stayed in jail.
Oh, okay.
Weekend. And they said, yeah, I said, told the judge, said, what's going on in this case? That's Davis. I said, yes, sir, that's me, sir. I says, I was just trying to protect myself. And he said, okay. Then he told them, they started talking. And the judge said, wait a minute. He said, who all was out there that day? They stood up and man said, he said, it's 8 of y'all. He said, 8. He said, you mean 8 of y'all couldn't take that man down? And they were saying, Judge, we don't know what happened, but we couldn't get him. And said then Mr. McManus, he messed around and he went with him. He brought him up here in the car. He protected him. That's the way it went. And they were trying to come up with some old bogus charge because they know we got the drug. Said, well, where was he at? Was he with the drug? No. He wasn't. He didn't have the drugs on him. What did he have on him? He didn't have nothing on him. You know. And that was it. It locked me up again. And this was the one time I had to put money up, and Daddy showed up through there. He said, well, we know he's good. And they said, we're going to do something with him. And I said, put the house up.
Oh, wow.
Put the house up for him. Because I had always told him, you know, don't have to do nothing for him. I said, but I'm straight. Get everything back. I'm not going nowhere. And that's what he did. They had to let me out. So I got out and I started moving around. You know, nobody couldn't say nothing. They said, well, we got all these drugs.
They couldn't tie it back to you.
No. Drug, what is that? I ain't never. I don't know about what they talking about. You know what I'm saying?
So how did you end up going to prison?
Yeah, that was the second time around. The first time, they came and kicked in, that like right here, the door there, and then you got the door there. And I had my guns upstairs, and they kicked the door. I'm talking about off the hinge.
I know that was scary.
Both doors.
Ooh, at the same
come
time?
in.
Oh,
yeah.
shoot.
I look up, all these police.
Ooh.
Right there. And I'm glad I'm still praying because I had started trying to get upstairs. That's why I had my pistols and stuff there.
Yeah.
The rifle wouldn't do me no good. I couldn't get to the AK. So I didn't have that there because I knew I wasn't going to have anything around me. You know, that many drugs. So they came in like that, tore everything up, and well, they still took me on uptown. They said, your feet will never hit the ground. No more.
Wow.
No time soon. Your feet will never hit the ground again. And I had been up there, you know, praying.
How was you feeling at this point? Were you like, oh man, I done messed up?
Yeah, well, I knew it was up to come, you know, anytime, but it's caught me off guard. This is one of the times they caught me, they got me. This time they got the stuff is right here.
Oh, it was at your house.
Yeah,
Oh.
I had it. It was in the flower pots.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. It was in the flower pots.
So they had you on a real charge this time. Okay.
Yeah. It says, and it told you won't never your feet won't hit the ground no time soon. And I stayed down there and went through that. And God, they hadn't heard about me and were going through, changes with me. Some of them talking junk. But then, the only thing I hate, I was stupid. I started selling drugs in prison. Thank God, I never got caught.
Do you have somebody to come visit you, give it to you, and then you was able to sell it in prison?
I was able to get it
wow.
like that. I was even had their workers. The guards, I had guards bring stuff in there. I paid them. And while I was in prison, night.
You had time to think.
Yeah, but I still prayed.
Mm-hmm.
I still prayed at night. They be down there in the bunk. I'll be crying, doing a lot of stuff. I'll be over there praying. Lord, I thank you, first thing in the morning for one more day and all your blessings in so many ways. Lord, you good God, I just thank you for everything, and please forgive me, because I know I did some wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
Just forgive me for those, and that's the way I've carried on life. I may not have been in church, just like now. I don't go because of the conditions I have, but I still pray. In that word, so you got to do that, and a lot of the ones that's in church don't even do that.
Right.
They won't pray.
That's true.
Won't give God the thanks.
Yeah.
You got to do that. And so I was in prison, and I had a couple people, it come down to get me out when I was able to come home. Eddie and Maggie Sanders, her husband, he dead now. And they would come and pick me up when I could get out on leave and take me, take me to church. And I did that. And then when I was singing something that was on, and the spirit that hit me, and I got to sing. Oh, everybody stopped doing what they were doing, and hey, Jane, you just need to just sing to us all the time. Mm-hmm. And so I got Buddy Phillips. Buddy had been singing out here in the world, years ago, but he was alcoholic, and he loved them drugs. And he wanted to sing, so, and he knew how things worked. So we ended up getting together, singing and so on. He said, yeah, you need to do this. You need to go up and do this. He knew how it worked. And then we ended up getting a couple more guys. Next thing you know, we had a little group.
Oh.
And started singing in prison. And then the captain's wife, she would come down with some more women, so they would, have a church for the inmates. So we got together one week and we went out there. So told her, well, we want to sing a song if you don't mind. She said, yes. She said, y'all go ahead. We need some singing. And we started singing. Oh, Lord. They were sitting over there crying. Cause the group, we had it pretty well put together. The part everybody should sing. The harmony was tight. Mm-hmm. And so every time I come down here, I want you all to come out here and sing. And so it got so good that when you're up under the gun, that means you got the gun, they got the guns on you when you leave or anything. And they don't let gunmen out at night. She got us out at night to go to a couple of churches.
Mm.
Yeah, so they knew us from, going out and being able to go out. She said, anytime I come down, she said, y'all can go out, you can sing, and go with me.
Okay.
She said, and I would love that. And the captain, he didn't really like it, but he loved his wife, and he went along with it. He said, y'all go ahead, and that's what we did. Because I got out, they had to let me out because they had messed my sentence up anyway.
What was your sentence?
Huh?
What was your sentence?
Well, I had, let's see, at the time, because I was facing 40 years.
Mm.
And they messed around and gave me, say, with 30 years on, how was that? Oh, my goodness. The charge, in other words, I'm trying to think, I can't even think of misdemeanor time and then you got felony time.
Mm-hmm.
I just put it that way. I was doing felony time, misdemeanor time. They had me doing misdemeanor time on a felony camp.
Mm.
That was against the law.
Oh.
I had ran into a guy and we were talking the law. We was, talking and so on. And he looked on there. Yeah, they messed up. They done messed up with your center. And said, we're going to fight this thing. He said, I'll write it. I'm going to show you how to write writs.
Oh, wow.
So we got to writing, put stuff down and putting it down. And sure enough.
So he was in the prison with you?
He was in the prison with
you. He just knew the law like that?
Yeah, knew the law like that. And see, God put the right people in your life.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so, they had to face up to it. They said, well, we got to let him out. We're going to have to let you out or pay you. Pay you for a certain amount.
Oh.
I was telling him, I want to get out. That's the main thing,
right.
I can get out. I can make it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they let me out. And I heard they had talk. It says, he gonna mess up.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't gonna, he mess up with them drugs. He gonna...
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be right back. We'll get him this time. We'll get him for the old and the new. I wasn't thinking that way.
Yeah.
I didn't go around none of the fellas. I got money out there now. I got, well, I do.
We'll talk after this.
Yeah, I got money. Well, I got money.
Yeah.
That's out there with guys. Owe me. Big time. I got no money, but I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I says, I told everybody, come around me. Keep the money. I don't need it.
Mm.
If I ever need something like that, then, that's another thing, but don't come around me with no drugs, no counterfeit.
Yeah.
You want to do what you do, take that money and turn it over. Flip it.
Yeah.
And do what you do.
Yeah.
That's what I want you to do.
So when you got 40 years, were you kind of depressed, or were you like, well, I'm gonna just do my time? Like, what was your demeanor?
You don't need to get depressed.
So you weren't okay. You were just like, I'm gonna just do it.
I just go ahead and I got caught, so I do it. Do what I have to do.
Mm.
I pray, but if it's meant for me to stay in here, I'll stay.
Now, how many years did you end up doing before they let you out?
They ended up doing 3 years.
Oh, that is amazing.
3 years. I got out.
Wow. I know they were mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
From 40 to 3, that is God for real.
Because they done locked me up. Mm-hmm. And I had in my mind, I'm a strong-headed, person. Hard person, I reckon you put it that way. I said, I'm going to have to shoot me some more. Now, I know that was stupid. I said, I got to shoot me some one more time just to see how I feel now about this heroin. And I got out, I stayed out 2 days. And another friend of mine, he's dead now. I went and we went and got that hair run together. Shoot. I got sick. And when I got sick off of it, I said, Lord, just help me. Help me off of this, and I won't do it no more. I said, this is it for me. And sure enough, that was in 1973. I ain't touched no more since.
That is amazing, because that's rare. That's so rare.
Yeah, all those guys that I knew, the ones that didn't die, died over it, messed them up. They never could quit. Even now, I got no, just not a handful. Now, that still, might mess with something. And, but no, not me. That's it. They were going to class, the 12-step programs and all of that. They were going, trying to get off their heroin, because it was killing them.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do it. I said, Lord, take control. You take control of me and this heroin.
You were able to just quit cold turkey?
Huh?
You were able to just quit cold turkey? You didn't have to do any programs or?
No programs or nothing. After that time, that was it for me. I didn't do anything, didn't do any more. I said, Lord, you take control.
Yeah.
And he took control.
Amen.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
And I did not do any more to this day. How many years is that?
I ain't good with the math, but that's a lot of years.
1973. I'll never forget it. That was the last.
52 years.
52.
Wow. Okay.
And when I got, getting out of prison, one of the guys, buddy, he had finally got out and he was trying to sing. I was walking. Matter of fact, on Phillips Avenue. Yeah, Phillips Avenue. I was back on, turn around now, back that way. I was walking down the street, because we stayed over there on Rayston Drive. And some guys come down the street, and a couple of them knew, Dookie Davis. Let him, they said he can sing. Well, they pulled me up, man, why don't you go with us? I said, what y'all want to do? He said, we going to practice. He said, you want to hear sing? I said, yeah. And I went with them, and the part wasn't right, and I got in and showed them. They said, you ain't going nowhere. You going to stay with us and sing from now on. We'll follow you. And that's how I started.
Okay.
Started singing. And
did you write any of the songs for them?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
That's how you kind of got back into the church and everything?
Yeah, I was dealing with that, with singing, and just like I said, they're like James Cleveland, and Shirley Caesar, and different singers, Slim the Supreme Anger. I ended up going them. We were gospel persuaders. That was our name. And we messed around, ended up going and singing on program. Okay. They invited us to come and sing. And that's what we did, and I loved it, I was back in church, the Sunday Green, but we, was in our auditoriums and things like that too. But I loved it. It got me away somewhat from some of the, the drugs, because I was trying to back up anyway. I wasn't trying to get caught up in what I was doing. And when I got out, that was it. I said, I got to do something for this boy. Yeah. That's on my jail.
Yeah.
See, I ain't getting caught up like this with him. Can't do nothing, so. Yeah. And he was rolling at the time, shoot. Had him over there, all the boys coming over the house, his friend. He had a dirt bike, brand new dirt bike, them double pipe on it. It was bad. I had to get on the ride. He had what do you call it? The motorcycle, dirt bike, and that's where I stayed in and build a hill up in the back. They back there jumping the hills and
I bet that was fun.
doing all kind of stuff. All those fellas, that he had to know, coming over there. I was back standing there, by myself. And then brought his mom in over there, stayed. Well, that's another story. But, stayed over there, had a good time. That's when I went back to school. He was talking about not going. I said, look here, boy. You need to go. Well, Daddy, you dropped out. Look at you. I said, no, man. You can't go by that. I said, I wish I had stayed in school. And so on. And I ended up going up to social services. I got involved with social service because I couldn't do much of nothing.
With the felonies and stuff?
Huh?
With having like felonies?
Yeah, trying to, get a decent job and so on. And they took me in and they got me hooked up with a program on the job studies, work. I would work. I went back to school and on the job training.
Oh, yeah.
Over A&T, of all places. Sent me over there. And I stayed over A&T 3 months. I got my GED. Then from the GED, they said, and I learned how to operate the press, the print presses and so on. And they talked about me. I was able to do the work. I trained 12 A&T students. They allowed me to train them. I learned so fast with what I was doing over there. And I went from there to Central 21. You ever heard of Central 21?
Yep.
That's where I got my training.
Okay.
In real estate.
Yeah.
Went to school. And you know where Friendly is? What's that, K&W out there?
Yeah.
I stayed right over there, back over there. I walked from there to out there to Friendly.
Oh my goodness.
Every day that I had, class, 3 times a week, I would walk.
A couple hours?
What? Wow.
To walk?
No, it wasn't that far.
Okay.
No, because I could get all the shortcuts I could. And I went over there, and I did pretty good. I had 7. I had 7 millionaire tutors.
Wow.
And that's how I rolled over there.
One is we talked about how you go back and do the prison ministry. Like, what are some of the things that you encourage the guys? Or what are some of the messages that you try to tell them?
Oh, well, but just being the person that I was, because I met a person, the president of the school that they were doing, was able to go to school and, learn some more on the Bible and so on. And I got with him, and next thing I know, I was driving then, but I had my Jaguar, and I would take him to classes, and I would learn when I went to classes, and I learned. I show you before you leave out of here, all my diplomas and everything in there, and the reason I end up, as far as the ministry is concerned, I says, I was just doing things, learning things. Then I saw a lot of things that wasn't right, young people dealing with, and whole lot of stuff, you know, that I had learned. And I said, well, I was, we'd be in class, and it was about 4, 5 pastors in the class. Every week, one of them would come in there, you know, they talk about their ministry, and they were having problems. And whatever they were having problems with, it was just nothing but the Lord. It would come my way, and I could talk to them, tell them what to do to deal with their members. It always happened like that. And they said, you the one that here not a minister, anything. But you the one always can help us. Not just the pastors, bishops, just like George or Brooke, got the big church down there. Him what his name? Love and Faith. Michael Thomas. All of them end up coming up there, you know, into the jail, and I was able to help all of them, you know. And so it says, and you not trying to talk about being no minister, nothing like that. And then the president was saying, he said, man, it just been put in my spirit. He said, the Lord just talking to me about you, He calling you into the ministry. And the rest of us was saying, yeah, I said, because you the one can help everybody. He said, you can handle these problems yourself. And so I said, well, you know, whatever the Lord said, that's what I try to do. You know, and I say I pray all the time, and I'm asking Him, you know, if I have a problem, you know, hey Lord, here I am. You know, what do you want me to do? Holy Spirit, because that Holy Spirit with us all the time.
Amen.
All the time.
Yeah.
And people forget that. You know, but you gotta let the Holy Spirit lead you. That's what He's here for.
Preaching now.
Huh?
Yeah.
Preaching now.
You was able to help a lot of those guys because you've been where they've been.
Yeah. And so I done went through there and did this and that, and well, here I am. And so they wanted to be around me.
Yeah.
And so you know, matter of fact, I got my card in there now. I can go down there, have service in the prison.
Oh.
Anytime I can go down there when they're having classes. I can, for as ministry concerned, I was able to get the guys out. I can get them out, you know, to take them somewhere. Yeah. You know, I was doing that. I don't know how many guys. And I had a list wrote out of, I don't know, over 1,000 that had gotten saved.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And when I told them that, the church boy, these people walk around, they didn't want to hear that. You know, here I am, and I'm going out on Sunday morning to the jail, you know, certain day and a half service. And I was doing the head of service, talking to these guys. A lot of them supposed to be, you know, it's so bad, whatever, they break down and crying and going on, man. You can help, or you ain't like the rest of these people. They, you know, try to do this and that. He said, you just straightforward, you know. I said, yeah, well, I'm just trying to help. I mean, and I can't help you if the Lord don't help me. Yeah. I'm gonna come in here trying to build myself up. Yeah. Before I get on that elevator to come up or anything, I start praying right there. Oh, the Holy Spirit just help me, strengthen me to do whatever I need to do today. Yeah. Hallelujah. I got to tell you, Lord.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's awesome that you got all those people saved. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm telling you, man, it's something. It just hits me, and it's in my heart now, you know, to help people, you know. I done been through a whole lot of crazy things dealing with people. I done seen a lot of people messed up and got killed and so on, doing stupid things and so on. But you know, the Lord blessed me to go through all of this stuff to deal with these guys. A lot of them didn't want to hear nobody. Wouldn't want to listen to me preaching this and that. Hey, you not like that. And I said, well, you know, it's just God. It's
Yeah.
just the God in me. I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, I ain't in here to try to act, you know, like I'm big or whatever, to try to help you all or this and that. But, you know, if you want to get the help or whatever, here I am. I'll help you, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, hallelujah.
That leads right to my second question. What advice do you have for the younger generation?
Well, the younger generation, they need to get in the Word. They need to get in the Word themselves and try to read that Bible. And whatever you don't understand in there, get somebody that understands what's going on, and you know, and so they can help you. Because I didn't want to stay up there in that church as long as I had been in the church.
Yeah.
And then when I got out and things start changing up for me, and I'm helping these people, then I met my wife. And oh Lord, it wasn't 9 months we were together. And got married. And we've been gone ever since. It's 32 years.
Wow.
Congrats on that.
Yeah,
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Awesome.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, so God is good, you know. They need to let God take control. You need to let God take control of your life.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't a lot of them come over with a whole lot of different things. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know, He'll help you in whatever situation that you're dealing with. If you really, really want that help,
Yeah.
you can get the help.
Yeah.
The help is, yes, yeah.
Yeah. If somebody's strayed away, it's just about just praying and trying to get reconnected.
Yeah, because what's the scripture? Train a child in the
Yeah.
way that he should go.
Yeah.
I was trained. I'm my pictures. I don't know whether y'all got it from over there with my sisters or what. I don't know what I got. I got a lot of stuff. It's I was Christian at a year old. You know, I went through that. And then baptized. I was just looking at the thing this morning. I don't know where that comes from. Just came from me being baptized. I was in Mount Zion. I wasn't baptized, but I was baptized at Ellerbe. I don't know where you knew it. Bishop Simpson Church. That's where I was baptized. It was in 64. Was it 64? 94. I don't know. Somewhere off in there. I know I was.
Yeah.
And been letting God just have His way, you know. And that's the way it's been all the way up to now.
So how do you want people to remember James Lloyd Davis Jr.? What do you want your legacy to be?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just whatever they do, whatever y'all think or they think or want. That's it. That's all I can say. I don't put no, I just want to, you know, still help people. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do, and nothing else.
You want people to remember you as a helper, a giver, a good,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I don't ask for nothing. I just try to make it on what I have and keep on going. And I reckon a lot of them are messed up now. They don't understand me. I don't have it all the time, but can't none of them say, I ain't asking nobody for nothing since I've been messed up. They can't say that. Can't everybody look at, well, don't you need this? I don't need nothing. But you to pray for me, you know. That's all I need.
You have an amazing story.
It's awesome.
Of, you know, almost like the prodigal son. Yeah. You know, like straying away, living the high life. At least you made millions, you know. We were like, what? And, you know, because normally living that lifestyle, you end up dead or in jail. And you just being able to, the sentence getting flipped, being able to get out and then get back. You really have a touching story.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, thank God for that, you know. Could have been the other way, but hey.
He kept you here, though.
Yeah, still here.
Yeah.
Still here.
Yeah.
Get my Bible and I pray.
Yeah.
That's it. Lord, what would you help me to do?
Yeah.
Help me do the right thing. I don't care if they can mess up, do whatever they want to do. I just want to be right myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Amen. Thank you.
Throw the mic.